This is Steve Saltwick. Welcome to a short summary of my six-part seminar, Your Brain, a Personal Tour. Buckle up because the task in the next 20 minutes or so is to highlight 4,000 years of brain research. Your brain is a creation of Mother Nature that is as complex as the galaxy we live in. With 85 billion active processors, or called neurons, your brain dwarfs the world's largest supercomputer, which only has about 10 million or so. Boy, can Mother Nature cook. This papyrus shows that we have studied the brain for over 4,000 years. This document is where the first written symbol for the brain was forged. Much has been learned since then. For example, holding a cold drink in your hand will bias your evaluation of someone, and yes, so will holding a hot one. Nuns do something to prevent Alzheimer's disease. 6-month-old babies make moral judgments. Advanced brains have single cells that detect Jennifer Aniston. And there's a simple reason lions don't eat everyone on a safari vehicle. And you thought scientific research didn't provide snappy patter for cocktail parties. I began my foray into scientific research at the University of Texas. It might look like 4,000 years ago, but it was really 1974. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I was thrilled to publish in science, but nobody got jobs. I could program computers, so out I went into high tech, if you could call it high tech back then. After an early retirement in 2012, I returned to my inner professor back at UT and constructed this seminar. I offer 5 summary insights beyond the snappy patter. The first is that there's a clear difference between sensing something and perceiving something. The rule of thumb is that you sense stuff, like lines, geometric shapes, etc., but you perceive, that is, become conscious of, objects. Like, say, for example, Jennifer Aniston. We've found single cells in the brain which perceive Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer in different clothes, different hairstyles, full face, profile, even the spoken words, Jennifer Aniston. Not to be sexist, other cells have been found that react the same way to Ryan Gosling, Tom Cruise, and Homer Simpson. Your brain is not born that way. It learns to perceive those objects. A 6-week-old baby senses only line segments, so these two figures are judged the same since the horizontal lines are the same, and this line are the same. But by 14 weeks, the babies have grouped the lines into angle objects, and therefore these groups are judged equal because this angle and this angle are the same. Your perception of an object can be affected by whole body sensations as shown by the red circle. That's why you tend to judge people as cold with a cold drink in your hand and serious when you have their resume on a clipboard. Object perception begins visually at the back of your head. This is where we start to perceive Homer. But there's an early warning system that Mother Nature provides to prepare you for threats, and that's a good thing. It triggers on very selective shapes, large white eyes, snake shapes, and skin colors different than yours. This warning system can also bias your perception. Object perception is exquisitely tuned to detect alive things by perceiving biological motion. Dots like this are perceived quickly by your brain as alive. The ability to detect biological motion is shared with most animals. Hence the reason this leopard doesn't eat the safari dudes. Sitting in the car, they have no biological motion, but move like the dots and their dinner. Your brain can also have an argument over perception. In this slide, your visual system is telling your brain that the orange circles are different sizes. But if I ask you to reach for those objects with your thumb and forefinger, your finger separation will be exactly equal, which is the truth. So how does your brain decide how to act? Well, when your brain decides to act, sometimes it's a brain congress, but a surprising amount of time, it's a brain dictator. To understand this, we need to see a rat think. A rat knows where it is by using GPS-like cells called hippocampal place cells. The hippocampus is a structure in the base of your brain about the size of your little finger. It is intimately involved in learning and memory. In this S-shaped maze, for example, there would be a place cell that is active when the rat is in the yellow part of the maze, and a different place cell that would be active when the rat is in the orange part of the maze. That is why they're called place cells. Now, when the rat faces a choice point, she can either go right or left in this example. Hippocampal place cells fire a sequence for turn right and then a sequence for turn left. There's another part of the rat brain that is voting on each choice based on experience. When that vote gets above a certain threshold, the thought about behavior gets committed to actual behavior. It passes brain congress. However, your brain and nervous system has lots of reflexes, aka brain dictators. We tend to think of them like this, getting your foot off tacks or Legos. But Mother Nature has given her children complex reflexes like this mouse, innately freezing at the smell of coyote urine. A reflex mechanism can also be seen with moral judgments of a 6-month-old who observes shapes with eyes helping or hurting one another. Babies will prefer helpers. Isn't that nice? But there's a complicating factor, one that hits hard in society today. Mother Nature also gives most of her children a sense of us and them. That was good, say 700,000 years ago, but perhaps not so much today. Here is a baby that liked green beans. Don't laugh, in this experiment 49% of them like green beans. This baby likes to see puppets who like green beans, in other words, one of us, helped. But for puppets who like crackers, one of them, the baby likes to see such puppets punished. Such moral reflexes grow as we age. They can be overridden by brain congress, but it takes some work. Mother Nature was kind enough to give your brain greatly expanded areas. And to do what? Well, basically, eat fruit in a tree. Here is a typical land animal, a rat, eating food. Grab the food in your paws, start chewing. Rather simple. Now, contrast that with a typical monkey eating. The limb he is on is moving. The branch he is reaching for is moving. So finding and eating food is a complex behavior. Scientists now believe the areas of your brain that greatly expanded over evolution, shown here in yellow, mostly relate to the rigors of finding and foraging for fruit in trees. The expanded bits of your brain used for foraging also underpin extremely complex social processes, so advanced that they reach, the level of soap operas, where life is complicated, the weak are exploited, people don't even make it to the next season. But wait a minute. Eating fruit in the tree is not the same as Bach composing and playing a cantata, or Michelangelo painting the Sistine Chapel, or Einstein or Gödel working out equations. There must be something different and unique about human brains, and of course there are, just not a lot of them. Your brain has only 3 unique capabilities that I can find. First, an ability to realize the existence of another brain. That means considering the perspective of another's brain, including the fact that the other brain may be holding a false belief. This capability is often confused with empathy. Lots of animals show empathy, in other words, the ability to feel another's pain. Only human brains posit another brain in a fellow member of the species. The second unique capability is a native ability for language, not just speech, a full language of sounds, gestures, etc. And then finally, the third unique capability is a natural instinct to teach, termed here pedagogy. Other animals teach their own young. For example, a mother meerkat will hold a kindergarten to progressively teach her pups to kill a scorpion, but only humans naturally teach skills to unrelated offspring. And then there's the hard question of consciousness. Well, it turns out there's a place in your brain with the tongue-twisting name of the temporoparietal junction that is active when your brain is thinking about the thoughts of another brain. Research shows that this part of your brain is active when you recognize your own face. I speculate that this is your brain realizing that it is a brain. And if we have a few more hours, we could explore this delightful topic more. Now, having grown that great big expanded brain, how do you protect it? Well, there's a pretty simple strategy. Do what nuns do, and do what your parents told you to do. The brain damage most people are afraid of is Alzheimer's disease, or AD. It is the #1 concern of aging adults, and any family it touches is substantially affected, if not overwhelmed. The disease is pernicious, affecting the brain decades prior to presentment. Today, once you're diagnosed, it's almost too late. Your brain has passed the point of no return in many cases. But nuns to the rescue. There have been multiple studies with nuns that show a clear path for hope in lowering the risk of AD, cognitive reserve. Think of it like muscle strength, but for your brain. The constant lifestyle of nuns over multiple decades allow scientists to detect lifestyle patterns which prevent or materially lessen the impact of AD. Having a rich mental life is an excellent way to lower your risk. So, we don't have to do everything a nun does or doesn't do. Just ensure we have a rich mental life. We truly owe them a thanks not only for their charity, but also for their assistance in advancing science. To protect your brain even better than the nuns, exercise. If there's a silver bullet for lowering your risk of AD, this is it. Study after study shows positive impact regardless of when you start, even as they say here euphemistically, later in life. And this exercise does not necessarily mean competing in the gym with millennials. Tai Chi, especially in groups, has been shown to have an effect. There's really no excuse not to do this. If not for your blood pressure, then for your brain. Another method helpful in growing new brain cells is the consumption of DHA. Many of you already take fish oil, and good on you. My point here is that most research is done with DHA from algae, so you absolutely can buy the cheap stuff. It does not need to be from happy fish. The search for effective drugs for AD has been replete with failure. Promising drugs are announced yet fail in extended test. But science carries on with new approaches, and that leads to some surprising vistas. One such vista is that AD may be caused by inflammation of the brain due to an understressed immune system. Many biological systems need stress to grow strong, a concept called anti-fragile. To address the inflammation, we need to activate the brain cleanup system, microglial cells. Expect to hear more about this line of research very soon. So to be clear, each of you listening today can lower your risk with lifestyle changes. Modifiable factors can lower your risk by 35 percentage points, and that is significant. It gives me hope that action can be taken today while research develops effective treatments for tomorrow. I also want to briefly touch on one other exciting area of research, the stuff in your gut, the microbiome. Amazing progress is being made in understanding the importance of over 10,000 species of bacteria in your gut, and the progress is dramatic. For example, the type of bacteria in your gut is a major determinant of the effectiveness of the newest cancer drugs. Gut microbes have a powerful effect in reducing depression. But for our purposes today, I want to emphasize the link between gut microbes and AD and Parkinson's disease. Recent research has shown that both of these diseases can be caused by the transfer of bacteria from the gut to the brain, most probably using the vagus nerve. This means that what you eat can really affect your brain. And now we get to the second rule of brain health. Just do what your mom told you to do again and again and again. Eat right. That means your vegetables. That means drink your milk. Man, oh man, was mom right. Now, gut bacteria health is dramatically linked to the consumption of probiotics and prebiotics. Probiotics are microorganisms that promote health in general. Here we emphasize brain health. They're most efficiently consumed via fermented foods, yogurt, kimchi, and sourdough, just to name a few. Prebiotics are the food for the probiotics. They are shown on the left. Getting a good diet of these foods can keep your brain healthy and you wealthy and wise for your whole life. The final section of the talk today is on how your brain can help the rest of your body recover from trauma. Significant and accelerating progress is being made here, and in some cases, they're nothing short of miraculous. The seminal research was done in just 2008 by Andrew Schwartz at the University of Pittsburgh. His lab was the first to connect a monkey's brain via a computer directly to a robot hand. The monkey quickly realized all they needed to do was think about moving the arm, and the arm moved. The monkey assumed the expression of Yoda, and the name Jedi Monkey was coined and stuck. The technology from the Jedi Monkey has been greatly improved by the addition of artificial intelligence. We are now at the stage where computers can literally read your mind. This has massive implications to society, but what I want to describe now is how this technology can not only relieve human suffering, but also allow previously excluded people to contribute to the betterment of society. A good example is a program which in 2023 restored the speech of a stroke patient, Anne. Anne's brain activity for speech is interpreted by an AI program and then projected onto a personal avatar. She can now carry on a conversation with her husband and with her daughter. Her wish is to become a counselor to others with the condition. Another example is restoring ambulation to those with spinal injuries. An AI program reads the brain activity of the person wearing a headset and transmits signals to an implant in their spinal cord. This system allows walking without the wheelchair, the top goal of anyone who has suffered such a trauma. Isn't that amazing? Now, as we finish, I'd like to close with 5 key takeaways. The first is always remember, perceiving Jennifer Aniston or Ryan Gosling is the sign of an advanced brain. Yes, you have a big brain, but don't get cocky. Much of it is for eating fruit in a tree. Considering the perspective of another brain is human unique, please, please don't let it go extinct, especially today. As hard as it is to admit, your parents were correct about eating right. And while we're at it, never forget, nuns are awesome at brain health. And then finally, consider the fact that all human brains have vestiges of traits like us and them, which were essential to our emergence as a species. They can and should be overridden with deliberation. They will not go away with training. If you are interested in viewing more information from my seminar, I include a link to this playlist and the agenda for the 6 sessions. The seminars are public on the internet. Please share it with anyone with interest. Just search YouTube for Your Brain, a Personal Tour. So thanks for your attention. I hope to see you in a future seminar. This is Steve Saltwick.